Final Dinner mode is absolute garbage. It is the worst mode that Ink Game has created, and today I will tell you why. Final Dinner is the punishment for failing Mingle. Instead of everyone dying, the game forces the remaining players into a 5-minute free-for-all where only 2 people are allowed to survive. On paper, that sounds intense. In practice, it's the worst designed mode in Ink Game. So why is Final Dinner so frustrating? Why do I say that it's bad? There are a lot of points to go over, so let's tackle them one by one. Point 1. Ping and avatar delays. Think about it. You just spent 40 minutes going through deadly game after deadly game, only to reach Final Dinner, where ping is 50% of your success. If your ping is 200 and your opponent's ping is 20, you can be an expert level 50, fighting an average level 30, and still lose easily. Your opponent will appear to be in one location, you swing in that direction while they're inside your hitbox, but the hit doesn't connect. Why? Because they actually aren't standing where your screen shows they are. The same is true vice versa. Your opponent will appear to hit the air right next to you, yet their attack will still connect, even if it makes no sense from your perspective. Wasting 40 minutes only to reach Final Dinner, then having ping ruin your run, is incredibly frustrating, especially since there is almost no diversity in the fighting arena at all. Which brings me to my second point, the Final Dinner arena. The Final Dinner arena is a large flat room with the circular table in the middle being the only obstacle. This means there is no room for unique attack opportunities or escape routes when your HP is low. You swing your weapon, then run away if your health gets low. It feels too empty and uninteresting, which only gets worse around 2 minutes into the battle when the playing field starts shrinking. Which brings me to my next point, the barrier. The barrier is a mechanic that forces players to fight each other by shrinking the fighting area. It appears roughly 2 minutes into Final Dinner and slowly closes on towards the center of the room. It stops once roughly 10% of the area is safe to stand it. The barrier stops at the circle table, leaving players to fight inside it. There is not a lot of space, so it's just pure chaos when there are like 8 players alive. The barrier is one of the most annoying mechanics in Ink Game. I understand what its purpose is and why it exists, but it just feels like the game is restricting our movement and forcing us into random weapon swinging. Before the barrier comes, at least you have a lot of space to work with when you fight, but the barrier takes that away too. But that's not the worst of Final Dinner. There is something even more annoying. The bandage spammers. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Bandage spammers are players who are a medic or the doctor. What these players do is run and use bandages whenever they take damage, or they play passively aggressive by constantly switching between fighting and running while still healing whenever they get the chance. You can be doing really well in Final Dinner and completely dominate your opponent. But then your opponent is a medic or doctor, and they start spamming bandages whenever they're close to death. Of course you're going to say, but bandages make them much slower, and they take a couple of seconds to use, so they should be easy to hit. And my response is wrong. For some dumbass reason, when opponents use bandages and should be really easy to hit in theory, they just aren't. It's like your character is purposely missing something they should realistically be able to hit with ease. They're still possible to hit, of course, but it takes such ridiculous precision that it feels incredibly dumb and frustrating when hitting them should be easy. Unironically, this is what it feels like to attack bandage spammers. It might as well be the same thing. Another problem with Final Dinner is something we can all agree is annoying. Teamers. By the time you reach Final Dinner, it's pretty much guaranteed that there will be at least one pair, or even an entire group of teamers. That just makes the mode even more frustrating when you have to 1v2, 1v3, or even 1v4 an entire team. There is no denying that being forced to fight an entire army by yourself is frustrating, especially this late into the game. Now, I want to talk about something that is insanely frustrating. The fact that powers are allowed in Final Dinner. Final Dinner is the mode that determines which 2 players will proceed to the final game. This means that sometimes as many as 6 players are required to die. That means you'll have to deal with lightning gods, medic and doctor bandage spammers, time stoppers, and more. Players that have OP powers which can make them shift the advantage in their favor in a few seconds make the mode feel like it's giving new players a very vocal middle finger, and overall make the mode feel unbalanced when it's nothing but raw killing each other. My final point for this absolute trash of a mode is the most disgusting of all, the utter lack of choice. It doesn't matter at all if every single player agrees not to kill each other, When the timer runs out, the game will kill everyone except 2 players randomly. This means that it doesn't matter at all if you don't want to fight. You will be killed by pure RNG because the game decided that only 2 players can pass. I understand that final dinner is a form of punishment to the players for failing mingle, but the fact that your choices are completely stripped away, no matter what, just makes the mode even more frustrating. That being said, final dinner has one redeeming quality. One thing that actually makes the mode feel good, and that is its music. Because, oh god, the music is fucking incredible. Ink Nation is the name of the final dinner music, composed by Bocnero, and he fucking locked in. When it comes to final dinner's music, just listen to this.
For the Ink Nation.
Other than the music, there is really nothing about Final Dinner that I like. You might be wondering, well, if you hate Final Dinner so much, what would you do to fix it? And that is a fair question. In my opinion, skill issues and avatar delays are Final Dinner's biggest problems. And those are things that cannot be fixed by the devs. That being said, there are still some things the developers could do to make the mode less insufferable. Number 1. Disable powers. Make the mode about raw PvP skill, and make it impossible for bandage spammers, lightning gods, and time stoppers to dominate. Number 2. Lower the time limit. 5 minutes for this mode feels too long. I would reduce the timer from 5 minutes to 3. Number 3. 1 minute barrier. Instead of the barrier restricting us for 75% of the mode, I would make the barrier appear only during the last 60 seconds. Number 4. 1 death requirement. Since Final Dinner is a punishment for failing mingle, I would add a 1 death requirement. If there are 5 or more players starting Final Dinner, the mode will require at least 1 player to die before the time expires. If there was at least 1 death and 4 or more players are still alive, the game takes you to Sky Squid Game instead of randomly killing players. If 4 or 3 players start Final Dinner, this idea would not apply, since Sky Squid Game requires at least 4 players to trigger. That's how I would rework Final Dinner. These are simply my opinions. You are, of course, always free to disagree with me, and if you do, please let me know what you think in the comments below. I encourage respectful discussion. As long as you keep it civil, feel free to share your opinion. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to show me you love this type of content. Until next time, I love you all.